Is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Bettor Sports Betting Show here with Howard Bender. I am Dan Servodidio from Fantasy Alarm here. Howard, how you doing? You ready to fire away on some MLB bets today? I can see.
I'm feeling super feisty, baby. I'm feeling super feisty. Thank you so much, as always, for having me here on the show, Servo. I'm already 1-1 on my on some best bets for MLB. So half of me is feeling good, and the other half of me is like, Adolis Garcia, you're dead to me. You suck.
Yeah, we got that's the beauty for Memorial Day baseball. We got games going on, starting up early in the day and going all through the night. As you guys are enjoying some Memorial Day barbecues, you can see I'm ready. I'm ready for tonight to get to grill out tonight. But as you guys
smell like Old Bay seasoning, dude.
Yeah, there might be some Old Bay on these crabs and lobsters.
Is that how you get rid of crabs? You put Old Bay seasoning on them? I was told there was a special shampoo for that.
I'm not going to touch that one. Let's just move on to some some MLB here. Yeah, so we got Justin Fensman coming on to talk some NBA playoffs a little bit later. Fensty does a great job with Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network content. So we're bringing him on to talk some Heat Celtics Game 7. Can't believe we're actually getting a Game 7. It seems like every game it's like, all right, the Celtics are going to keep winning tonight. And yep, they do. So we're here. We got some NHL playoffs tonight, so we'll touch on that. I know Howard has a couple leans for that game tonight, the Stars and the Golden Knights. But yeah, baseball's going on as you're enjoying these Memorial Day festivities. We know you're watching some baseball as we are. So we got games starting up right now within a couple minutes. So maybe we'll give out a couple leans for those. But you mentioned you got some wins and some losses already today, and maybe some going on right now. You're mad at Adolis Garcia, aren't you, Howard?
Very disappointed in Adolis Garcia. Texas Rangers, thank you, Corey Seager. You did me right. I had the run line on the first 5 innings for that game. But, with Matthew Boyd on the mound, and listen, I get it. Matthew Boyd can have his bright, shining moments, and he can have his cockapoo moments. I was banking on a cockapoo moment here with Adolis Garcia. I thought, listen, over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBI for him on DK at minus 135. I was okay with that, but he suddenly turned into a huge turd, struck out twice, and had 2 garbage flyouts. So, 1-1 on those. But I mean, I'll tell you what, there's a game starting in about 7 minutes from now that I wouldn't mind putting a little action on there. It's in the best bets over at fantasyalarm.com. You guys can go over there to fantasyalarm.com and get them. If you don't subscribe, do it now. Go to fantasyalarm.com/Howard. Use the promo code Howard. Get you 50% off your first 6 months. You might as well just take advantage of that sucker and get in on this. But Arizona, Colorado, I'm feeling this one, Servo. I got the Diamondbacks on the run line for the whole game, minus 1.5 on the run line. And then I've got Corbin Carroll over 1.5 total bases. There wasn't any value on his hits plus runs plus RBI prop. So, whatever. But I think that, Arizona on the run line along with Corbin Carroll over 1.5 total bases. I'm in for that one there. And I'm psyched. Carl Kaufman pitching for the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, you're fading Carl Kaufman in multiple ways here, which I don't blame you. And yeah, Ryan Nelson's been pretty, he's a solid starter for the D-backs. He's obviously not like one of their aces, but he's a guy that if he's on the mound and he's facing like a lineup like the Rockies on the road, especially with the Rockies on the road, that's a team I love to fade. We just know their offense is a lot less dangerous and powerful away from cores. And so I'll back that. I'll back the run line there. And it's minus 110 on DraftKings I'm seeing right now. So not a bad juice there. And Corbin Carroll can get you some more juice of that. Yeah. You mentioned so your best bets over on fantasyalarm.com. So everyone go check that out for some written content to some picks we're giving out here. And if you got it on earlier, you would have seen some plays for afternoon games. So before we went live here. But yeah, we got some more games coming up. I do have one more. I have a bet right now that I'm kind of riding. I think it's safe, but I don't want to jinx it. I took the Cubs and the Rays under 8 earlier today. Just with that pitching matchup, we got Taj Bradley and Stroman. With the wind blowing a little bit in at Wrigley is always leaning me towards the under, but Stroman at home has been a pitcher. I like the back there, and Bradley has been strong for the Rays. So, but yeah, 1-0 right now in the 7th I'm seeing. So hopefully that stays firm. Not to jinx it, obviously, but
are you
we'll
worried
see.
about bullpen Servo?
The Rays bullpen, man. Fairbanks is back in the IL. The Rays bullpen just got that much worse. So who knows?
Yeah. Here you go. Last 7 days, the Rays bullpen 8.13 ERA.
It's terrible.
Horrifying. Cubs are the 5.70 ERA. So
they're
you are going to
not much
sweat
better.
This one.
They're not much better. Maybe I should just go with the first 5 bet on that one, but
come on, top of the 8th. I like this one for you here. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Avoid extra innings at all costs in that one for sure. But yeah, so in about 10 minutes, we'll have Justin Fensman talk some NBA playoffs. So stay tuned for some picks for that game. An interesting spread there. We got 7.5 is the spread and a low total. So it should be a great watch tonight. Let's get into our MLB best bets for tonight. I know we both have a couple of ways we're looking here. I'll let you go first for your pick here, Howard.
Okay, first pick. For my my best bet of the night here, I'm taking the Atlanta Braves over 5.5 runs on the on the team total. I got it from -105 over at BetMGM. I mean, to me, you're going up against Oakland. You're going up against Paul Blackburn. He's a veteran pitcher. He flashed some okay moments. As a pitcher when he was with the Minnesota organization, but he's been out. He's got to work himself into some midseason form. There's really not a lot to love about him. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Braves, to clear 6 runs, just take a look at some of the hitters' numbers there. I'm loving Ronald Acuna, and I'm actually gonna piggyback that. So I might as well throw it in. It's not technically my best bet, but I will throw in Ronald Acuna over 2.5 hits plus runs plus RBI. It's plus 110 on DK Sportsbook, but I cannot see this this Braves lineup being held down because it's not just Blackburn, it's also the Oakland bullpen, which has just been massively overworked and continues to give up runs.
Yeah, I like that. And I actually have a pick to piggyback off of that is Paul Blackburn's strikeouts to go under. Seeing 3.5 is the total. It's a low number. It's 3.5, but juiced a little bit, like -130 to the under. firing on these Blackburn prop. The Braves offense, it's just, you mentioned, it's just this dangerous offense, especially for Blackburn in his first start coming in to find this offense facing him, even though it's at home for him in Oakland, but I don't care about that. Over the last couple of weeks, the Braves have a low 21% K rate against right-handed pitching and over 325 WOBA for the whole season against righties. And the last 2 weeks, they've held firm in that good split. So I see Blackburn here. I just think the 3.5 strikeouts, I just think overall he's going to be limited success-wise, but I could see him not lasting, maybe he's going 5 innings or less, especially if he runs into trouble like you're saying. I could see him getting pulled a little bit early so they don't overwork him in his first start back. Interesting matchup there, by the way. We got Soroka on one side and Blackburn on the other, both in their first starts of the season. I wanted to ask you quickly about Soroka, by the way, because this was a bet I was considering on both sides, but I was worried about Soroka in his first start back of backing the Braves here in this spot. How do you feel confidence-wise that he's going to do well on the mound? It's his first start in almost 3 years.
Yeah. Oh no. Listen, that's kind of why I was tilting away from it a little bit in the sense that, of worrying about how Soroka was going to pitch. but it's why I took the team total for offense for runs. It's why I'm in on Acuna having a good day, because I honestly don't know what we can expect out of Soroka. Ideally, you'd like to see him go 5 innings. Ideally, you'd like to see him pitch well, but command and control is always the last thing to come back for a pitcher. So I'm not worried about him velocity wise, but how's he going to do up against, more major league batting? Is he going to try to nibble the corners too much? How's he feeling? So I think, when healthy, Soroka's a fantastic starter, but I agree with you that I would probably try to, shy away a little too much from wondering just how he's going to do. Good quality pitcher, but just, tough situation.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let me get to my best bet here. And I'm going with the Nats and the Dodgers over 9, plus money on DraftKings, about plus 100 right now. I do like this to go over 9. I think it's going to be one of those higher scoring games. We saw the Dodgers in their series with the Rays ring out a bunch of higher scoring games, and their bullpen's been a little bit overworked in my opinion. And just in general, over the past 2 weeks, both the Dodgers and the Nats have struggling bullpens in the bottom 10, bottom 5 of most metrics with the relief core there. And I see that as being a big factor here because we have Trevor Williams on one side for the Nats, who's been just a below average starter in general, and he's got a 5.40 ERA on the road this season. Now he has to face a Dodgers offense that's been really good against right-handed pitching all season. 337 WOBA, 4th in the Major League Baseball this year against righties, and held firm over the past 2 weeks. So this is a great, Dodgers are on the plus side of their splits. They're not great against lefties, but against right-handed pitching, they're very strong. So I see Williams running into trouble, and then that, poor Nats bullpen is going to have some issues too. But on the other side, we got Bobby Miller for the Dodgers, and he was impressive in his debut, but I see his 5.65 ERA in the minors before he got called up. I see that just coming true, bleeding through at some point this year. I think he's going to have a shaky outing. And the Nats here, surprisingly, are smashing right-handed pitching lately. They have a 348 WOBA against righties over the past 2 weeks. They're like a top 5 offense, top 10 offense overall over the past couple weeks. And usually, overall, if you look at their season-long numbers, their splits against righties have not been good. So immediately, maybe you think to fade them. But over the past 2 weeks, they've really picked up. They're an offense that's trending in that direction to be a tough matchup for right-handed pitching. So I see Miller having some issues here. And overall, I just think that the 9-run total, I see it being one of those higher scoring games, especially with the Dodgers just playing in these right now. I just see this trend continuing tonight.
I love the over in this game, so I'm okay with that. Bite your tongue on the bad Bobby Miller talk, dude.
Well,
I mean, what you show me one pitcher in the PCL that doesn't have an overinflated ERA. I mean, those ballparks are all bandboxes. I think the biggest one I think is in Las Vegas, and that it's still crazy home run friendly. I only say that because, I have Bobby Miller in fantasy all over the place, and, bite your tongue, Servo. Like let the Dodgers get all of this in one fell swoop. They're the
I'd be fine with that.
Second best weighted on base average against right-handed pitching. Max Muncy, Freddie Freeman, James Outman, hell, David Peralta, throw him in there. Those lefty bats right there. Yum, give me some.
Yep.
I'm all in on that. Stop with your nonsense about your local team there. I know you live down in that DC area.
I'm a Phillies fan, though. I don't care about the Nats.
Washington Nationals. Yeah, look at who their opponents have been over the last 2 weeks. The Royals, the Padres, the Tigers, the Marlins, the Mets. Like those teams are like the pitching on those teams is terrible. I mean, the Padres, it's like you got like maybe a little Yu Darvish in there, or I think Joe Musgrove threw one there. They lost 2 or 3 to the Padres, so they stink on ice, man. Screw those Nats. Give me all Dodgers.
Bobby Miller can have a good 5 innings. I'll allow him that.
Thank you.
But this Dodgers bullpen has been a worry for me coming in here. I watched a lot of their series against the Rays, and it was just like both sides, just a run fest on both sides. So I think it's going to keep going here. And by the way, we got Matt Deutsch, Better Boss on YouTube, commenting. I'm with Servo on the over 9 for Washington, LA. So we got him on board.
I was with you on the over too. I was okay there. I just don't want the Nats to do anything. I'd rather talk NBA with Fensty than to sit here and purport that the Nats are a good offense against right-handed pitching. Bobby Miller's going to mow him down.
That's a fantastic transition there, Howard. You must work in radio or something, because we do have Justin Fensterman coming in here to talk some NBA. What's up, Fensty? We got Heat Celtics Game 7 tonight. Are you pumped or what?
Oh, I'm miserable. Let me tell you, I'm miserable. I hate Game 7s in sports, Servo. Servo, come on, man.
You hate Game 7s?
I hate Game 7s, man. There's no drama. Of course I'm excited. Come on. How can you not be excited? It's Game 7.
It's the best 2 words in sports.
Dude, history could be made tonight. Boston could be the first team to ever come back in NBA history down 0-3. Ooh, Hal likes the Heat tonight.
Dude, I'll take anybody over any Boston team, no matter what.
So there's that part of it. We got the Celtics trying to go and make history, being the first team down 3-0 to come back and win the series in the NBA. This spread here is really crazy, 7.5. It's actually moved a little bit in that direction for the Heat, because it was 8, I think, last night and yesterday. So maybe some money coming in on Miami to keep it closer. But that Miami money line at plus 250 we're seeing here on FanDuel is really juicy, really interesting to me, because we have history on our side. No team has done this. Yes, they're favored by a bunch here. How are you feeling going into this game? Spread, money line wise, over under? What's your feel here?
Yeah, it's been tough to get a real feel when you have teams shooting as inconsistently as we've seen both of these teams shoot over the last number of games. However, I'm thinking, for some reason, I've been wavering back and forth. I've been in Discord talking about it, Fantasy Alarms Discord. First, when I woke up, I was more on the Heat money line side. But then I thought about it like this, and I said, you know what? I think it's going to be a close game, just like last game was. So I might as well take the Heat with the points. And I'm thinking that Boston has found their game again, has found their rhythm. They made an incredible clutch play to send it, turn the momentum completely. So how I'm handling this, guys, is I'm going to be placing the Heat plus 7.5 at this point, thinking it's going to be close. But if I'm thinking of a money line, maybe to something put in the parlay, maybe the Celtics money line, but I'm going Heat plus 7.5. Only because, guys, we saw this last year between these two teams. We've seen how this series has gone. We've seen Miami just not give up. Miami, if they're down 20 tonight at the beginning of the fourth quarter, I'm not thinking it's over. And that's because they just never give up. They're built for a marathon. You see it in their speed. You see it in the shape that they're in as a team. So with that, I'm thinking they're keeping it close tonight, even though I think Boston might win.
Well, don't say Boston might win, because I don't want to be about that. But I mean, that my question is, I mean, all right, granted, game 6, 104, 103. It was, like last 3 seconds was bonkers there. But yeah, the Celtics actually dispatched of the Heat in games 4 and 5 pretty handily. And so I was, I don't know if I was surprised that the line was only 7.5, but you know me, Fancy, I'm always suspicious of lines. And when I see something like that, I do tend to worry about that. And I don't know. I mean, are we looking at, I guess it comes down to Jimmy buckets. And if we think that the Heat even keeps this close, do we tilt in on all of Jimmy Butler's props? Because he really needs to step it up in a major way if the Heat are going to win this game, let alone lose by less than 7.5.
Absolutely, Howard. And it's very high tonight, 28.5. That's a big number right there for the points. However, what I want to do is I want to believe in what you're thinking, because I kind of have that thought process as well, because I'm thinking, what's an area where I can take advantage of Jimmy Butler and a prop on a little bit of a lower number? And I'm thinking that the Celtics are going to have to put 2, if not 3 guys on him at all times. Let anybody else on that team beat you. Let Duncan Robinson take all the open threes he wants. You take out Jimmy Butler at every measure possible. And it's funny because they almost did that and the Celtics were still able to win. They barely squeaked by. So if there's anything I'm looking at tonight, guys, I'm looking at Jimmy Butler over 5.5 assists. I think it's a lowish number. I think that if he's not going to be able to get those high percentage shots, he's going to have to get it into the big guy, Bam Adebayo, coming off a couple of disappointing efforts. Really, last game, very disappointing. So I'm thinking if there's anything that I want to bet on Butler tonight, rather than chase that high point total, I'm actually going the dimes front there. But if you're out there and you're thinking that the Heat are going to come out and they're going to crush this game, it's going to have to be because of Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy Butler is the heart and soul of that team. Jimmy Butler's got to make sure he's taking a lot of great elbow shots tonight, not really making the arc his game, and he's still put up some nice totals. But overall, I'm looking for something where I'm not as, let's just say, pessimistic or not as fearful of betting. So I'm going on the dime side tonight at over 5.5.
I like it. And on the other side with the Celtics, is it a case where you're leaning towards backing Tatum and Brown, their props, or are you looking at some of these role players? Because, like some of these role players we've seen, obviously like Marcus Smart for sure, but Derek White was the hero of the last game and has some good 3-point shooting in this series. Robert Williams is a guy that's his props are kind of hit or miss, I feel like, because it was playing time. Al Horford also, but any other player props on both sides that you're looking at you like tonight?
Man, I've really wanted to go after that Al Horford over 6.5 rebounds, but I just can't do it. I can't bring myself there. So if anything, with Tatum, I'm thinking if there's something else besides his scoring that we can rely on. His rebounding has been very impressive in this series. So I'm actually going to go a direction I haven't gone before this series, and that's take Jason Tatum over 16.5 rebounds plus assists. Another guy gets it done on the facilitating front. You mentioned Jaylen Brown, Servo. I can't trust Jaylen Brown at all. I don't know what kind of Jaylen Brown we're going to see, and he hasn't really had that explosive game. It'd be very interesting, the cherry on top in this series, if finally this guy comes alive and drops 35 to 40, but we haven't seen him do it. I think he might still be hurt on the hand front, and I think that's impacting him just a little bit. So I'm going in on more the Tatum side, but not really on the points. I'm going after the rebounds and assists. A lot of double-digit rebounding games. Over 16.5 is where I'm going. A lot of my other props, because one of the ones that I'm also debating, Marcus Smart. Now, I don't want to chase the back-to-back 20-point games he put up, but he's been taking double-digit shots, and we can't ignore that. So I'm looking at 13.5. I haven't placed the bet yet, but over 13.5 points is where I'm looking for Smart. A lot of my other bets that I'm considering, even one that I placed here, have to do with the Heat role players, actually, thinking they're going to have to come through.
Before we get to your Heat player props, the one question I have to ask you, so I was reading the DFS Showdown Slate article over at fantasyalarm.com that James Grande put forth. And, usually when a guy's recommended to be the captain, you're kind of expecting some bigger things. And I'm curious as to how that might translate into some prop plays. He's got Tatum as a possible captain. He's got Jimmy Butler as a possible captain. Okay, great. Derek White, 27 plus minutes in each of these last 3 games that the Celtics have won. Talking about the Celtics, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You've won 3 in a row. Why would you change strategies right now? Can we look at Derek White as being somebody who we can sift through and find some decent prop value on him?
No, it's definitely something you got to look at, and it all starts with his threes. Now, the over 2.5, you're going to get a very nice odds on that. I saw that at plus money earlier, so you're right in that regard, Howard. And the Celtics would be moronic at this point to change up any of their lineups or their rotation, because besides the buzzer beater that he did to save the season for Boston, this guy's been coming through tremendously, and it's really with the intangibles. So if you're watching those games and you're seeing them block shots from behind and everything, can that translate into something I trust with props? You want to bet him. I saw his point prop sitting there at about 13 or 14.5. You can. That's not one I'm in on. When it comes to anything else like his boards and dimes, it's been very difficult for me to track that. So really with Derek White, you want to attack the threes. If you're thinking he's going to have a big game, he's hit at least 3 3-pointers in all 6 of the games in this series. So that's something that you can look at, the over 2.5 for him. The points at 14.5, though, it's a little bit risky. We've only seen him go over that a couple of times. So when it comes to Derek White tonight, you got to look at threes or it's going to be bust for me, because I'm not messing, even though he's been blocking a lot of shots, I'm not messing too much with that.
Perfect.
All right, let's get to some of your Heat player props. You mentioned you like a couple on that side of the ball there. So give us a couple players you're high on tonight.
Sure, my favorite. What were you saying, something?
I said make it sizzle.
Okay, I'll make it sizzle factor. We got to love that. Let's start with Gabe Vincent here, guys. I mean, he's back. The ankle surely didn't bother him last game, playing a ton of minutes. He's going to get a lot of shots. I was wondering how that was going to go. So because he's back and he hasn't really looked like, I know he's questionable going in, listed as questionable going in, but he's going to play and he's going over 13.5 points. He's been huge for this team. At times, we've seen him quiet down a little bit on the scoring front, and we've seen him sit in the corner a lot more. But this guy has not only helped out facilitating the offense, but his main role with the Heat was supposed to be shooting shot after shot after shot. But he's had to transition into more of a traditional point guard role. And then he became more of the shoot first point guard. So I like Gabe Vincent over 13.5. I also like Caleb Martin over 14.5 points. I mean, both these guys are going to have to come through. If Jimmy Butler is going to have an off night and the Heat are still going to advance, these two players have been shooting the lights out of the ball, and they're going to have to come through tonight because I'm expecting Jimmy Butler to be held 3 feet behind that arc when he has that ball for most of the game until other players just start burning the crap out of them. And these are the two guys I think that can make it happen. Gabe Vincent over 13.5 points, Caleb Martin over 14.5 points. And then finally, guys, Duncan Robinson. I mean, we can't deny what his role has been on this team, and he's going to take some threes tonight. The big question is whether or not he's going to play 25 minutes or so, if he's going to be stuck in that 18 to 20 range. You can look at over 1.5 3-pointers because a lot of the shots that he's going to take, unless the lane is open, are going to be from three-point land. It's very juiced up, though, at minus 155. I'm still okay with it. And if you're willing to take that, because think about it like this, you're willing to take the over on that's already 6 points that you're thinking he's going to get. Duncan Robinson over 8.5 points is something else that I'm very intrigued by. Not as intrigued as I am about Gabe Vincent or even Caleb Martin, but that's something that I'm intrigued by. And I'm actually thinking about putting together some kind of parlay with two of these three to do a 2-leg parlay. But as solo bets, the 2-point props I gave on Vincent and Martin, I really like tonight.
I like that. Yeah, I was just thinking about building same game parlays because you mentioned Jimmy Butler's assists you like, but if you wanted to go, with the same game parlay, at least on like DraftKings, FanDuel, you can go with the alt lines where alt lines for multiple players. So you can go with, Gabe Vincent's points, maybe a few points the other way, Jimmy Butler's assists, a few assists the other way. Same thing with Duncan Robinson, whereas maybe they don't, sometimes the lines you don't agree with, but you think Jimmy Butler can get at least 3 assists. You can get Gabe Vincent to score 6 points. You can get Duncan Robinson to score six points. Like that same game parlay is always interesting to me. So, but yeah, you mentioned you like Jimmy Butler's under or over assists as well. So that's makes sense why you like all those picks. Fancy, appreciate you joining us here. Talk some Heat Celtics. I mean, we got the NBA Finals starting up Thursday, right? Against the Nuggets. Yep. So we'll see who gets to meet them there. I'm sure we'll have you on at some point again soon to preview the finals and talk some NBA Finals. You see the NBA Finals schedule there, so they build in more days off for this. So we'll have this going on for a couple more weeks. So we'll definitely have you on again soon to talk that. Fancy, appreciate you joining us here today.
And thank you guys so much for having me. And Servo, nice Hawaiian shirt. I didn't know it was Hawaiian shirt day on the show.
Yeah, we might be grilling out a little bit later, so it's just kind of trying to get the mood set before we get there.
Very nice. Well, you look snazzy. And Howard, it's great seeing you as always.
Always great to see you, Fensty. Thanks.
You can follow Fensty at Fensty Sports on Twitter if you haven't already done that to check out his NBA, MLB content. He's got the Fantasy Alarm injury report for fantasy baseball leagues up on the website right now, so go check that out. Posted today, and Fancy will be on the Bettorcast later tonight, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, on Fantasy Alarm, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. So make sure you're checking that out for him. Let's talk more some MLB bets. By the way, we got someone commenting here saying this is Mystery Sauce saying, "Hey Howard, Dan, Justin, any betting advice on the Champions League final?" Honestly, have not dove into the Champions League final. I've kind of dabbled on some of the Champions League games going on, but I think the Champions League final is maybe a week and a half away or a week away. So we might have someone, one of our soccer guys coming on to talk that. But I don't know, any leans on that, Howard, right now before we get to some MLB?
Well, I like Jamie Tartt's goals prop. I like Roy Kent's assist prop. And you
Roy
know
Kent's
what?
a
Yeah,
coach now.
I might take the Greyhounds as a as an upset special here. No, I'll tell you exactly where to go, Mystery Sauce. At Steve's Fantasy AD. That's SteveFantasyAD. That's his Twitter handle.
Yep.
For Steve Pimental. He handles he covered the EPL for us throughout the entire time. He is very much in tune with what's going on in the soccer world. So I would suggest you follow him on Twitter, and then hit him up and ask him, what is it? It's Man United against Man City. Is that what we're looking at for the whole thing? So talk to Steve Pimental. You tell him that we sent you, and he'll be able to answer any and all of your questions as to what he likes as far as that goes. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep throwing Ted Lasso's character names out at you.
We got Man City against Inter Milan for the Champions League final.
Who?
Inter Milan.
I'll bet you they're very well dressed, right? The Italian club?
Plus 600 on the money line for Inter Milan, if you want to go that way. And we got Man City as heavy favorites there, minus 260. So I'm sure some of the best bets there will be maybe player props or, both teams to score, that kind of thing. But we'll definitely hit up Steve Pimental on Twitter and in the Discord. I can see you're commenting on the Discord here, so you can talk to him there. Let's get to some more MLB picks. By the way, Matt Deutsch commenting saying Man City is his pick, I guess, with the 3 exclamation points. So maybe back Man City, but on the spread, that money line's a little too juicy. But we got about that's June 10th, next Saturday. So I guess we're a bit away from that game going off.
Maybe I'll ask Steve to write an article about the Champions League final, and we'll get that posted on fantasyalarm.com. Maybe we'll do that, but
yeah,
we're just going to do it in diary form, right? Dear Mystery Sauce, here's your whole thing.
By the way, I cashed on my Rays Cubs under. It's a 1-0 final, so I'll go. We got the under 8 locked in. And
yeah,
right now
there it is.
There it is.
Ring that cash register, baby. I love it.
And we got Rockies up 1-0 over the Diamondbacks right now in the top of the second. Ryan McMahon homered if you had that home run prop. Corbin Carroll 0 for 1 so far, so we'll wait and see on your bet there.
Great job. Good reporting there. Appreciate
just giving you some updates. Live sweats either way.
Listen,
wins or
that
loss.
shirt is hideous. Your shirt is horribly ugly, and you smell like Old Bay. You do. You smell like like low tide. In that, yeah, exactly.
That was my deodorant this morning. So. Let's get to some more bets here for tonight's games, because we got a bunch more games tonight. You want to go with another one of your picks, your leans tonight?
Yeah, absolutely, sure. I guess it's starting up. The game's starting in about half hour, 40 minutes from now. Pirates Giants. You've got Rich Hill, the lefty, on the mound. He's facing Anthony DeSclafani of the Giants. Both pitchers solid, middle of the road, but it's a matter of the lineups that they're facing. The Pirates are in a huge tailspin right now. They don't look good. We've expected this throughout the entire time. So with DeSclafani facing off them, and then Rich Hill, the lefty, against the Giants are terrible. 27% strikeout rate against Southpaws, like one of the worst team WOBAs, against them. So I like Pirates, Giants. I like the under 8.5 runs. Both these bullpens, Servo, have been lights out. The Giants over the past week, their bullpen's got a 2.05. Like a 0.38 ERA, and then it's a 2.05 ERA for the Pittsburgh bullpen. So I like them under 8.5 runs. Got it for minus 115 on Caesars.
I like that, and I'll piggyback right off of that with Rich Hill's strikeout prop. I like tonight over 5.5. Here on DraftKings, about even money there, minus 120 I'm seeing. But you mentioned it, this Giants lineup against left-handed pitching has been terrible this year. 20, especially in the strikeout department, 27% you mentioned strikeout rate against lefties this year. Over the past 2 weeks, it's risen to 29% K rate against lefties. And Rich Hill's strikeouts isn't really a prop that I've targeted much this year, but honestly, any lefty against this Giants lineup has been one I've been willing to back. And Rich Hill has been, he's been better than you'd think. He's averaging 5.2 strikeouts per start this year. So that's, I guess, kind of around the baseline. But he's got 5 of his 10 starts have been over 5 strikeouts, and 2 others have been right at 5 strikeouts. So he's right in that range to go over this 5.5 line. And as I mentioned, this matchup against this Giants lineup is really favorable. And interestingly enough, Rich Hill, his overall, if you look at his ERA, it's not great this year, but he's got a 2.31 ERA on the road. So that kind of backs up your point of him having success here on the road, even though it is, in San Fran today. So that game starting up in about a half hour here. So the under in that and the over for Rich Hill's strikeouts, we can both work on that.
I dig it. I definitely dig it. I'll go back to that. I told you already about the Acuna over 2.5 hits plus runs plus RBI. I'm locked in on that one there as well. I think those are really the only, the best bet. And I'll just say this because I a lot of people have asked me certain questions, 15 game slate and you're giving us 3 or 4 bets. These are the bets that I'm playing. And, everything that I mention here on this show in the Best Bets article over at fantasyalarm.com, when you hear me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio and giving out plays, that's what I'm playing myself. And I've said this to everybody. You don't have to tell me, pick and choose what you like out of my bets, but these are the ones that I personally have action on. I believe them. I am not one of those people who's going to run around and give you 15 different bets to take a look at, and I've only got, action on 3 or 4 of them. I'm not, that's not my style. Leave that to the other, fantasy folk who think that they know betting and they want to give out a billion plays, because that's to me, that's not right. That's not helping you be a smarter bettor. And that's me doing, you a disservice by just, throwing stuff out all willy-nilly. Everybody can like 20 different props, but are you turning profit on them? That's the issue. That's the question. So yeah, those are my best bets, as opposed to, when we talk our home run calls.
I like that. And that point could not be, more hammered home, because I'm lockstep with you about I'm not giving out plays that I'm not also betting. It's, and this has been one of my, main things just in my mind of, if people follow me on Twitter, they know I posted a lot of college basketball and college football bets, and I'll be giving them out in this show for sure. But, it was keeping a Google Doc of all my bets and win-loss record, all that, because trying to be transparent, but also I'm not going to give out all these bets and I'm not also betting, because that's not how it should be. And, and also I don't know, it's just being, even on a loss, we were talking about wins and losses that we've had, but even on a loss, you got to own the losses, because sometimes you get a bad read, or sometimes you kind of dive into it and look at a different angle than you probably should have, whether the stats tell you one way or the other. So that Rich Hill prop I gave out, fist bump, or the other way. Oh.
Come on, over here, dude. Over here. There it is. Jeez Louise.
My directions were all mixed up there. I forgot. But yeah, the Rich Hill prop is one I like, but obviously, there's some risk. There's risk in all this. But with that, I do have a couple more props or bets I do want to give out here that I am betting tonight as we're watching baseball on this Memorial Day. I like the under in the Angels White Sox game. Seeing it around 9 right now. The White Sox have been terrible against right-handed pitching this whole year. It's an offense that we've targeted if they face some good righties, and 280 WOBA the last 2 weeks and 289 WOBA overall this season against right-handed pitching, both just bottom 5 numbers. You can see on the screen there the under, it's about 8.5 now, so it's going down a little bit, but I got it at 9 earlier. Nice. But Griffin Canning they're facing for the Angels here, has been up and down this year. Not the best matchup, for any pitcher, but I like Griffin Canning coming off a strong start last time out, and I think he can carry that into tonight. But the other side of this matchup, the Angels are obviously dangerous with Ohtani, Trout, these guys, but I think this lineup can be kind of a hit or miss, if you will. But we got Michael Kopech going for the White Sox, 1.99 ERA in the month of May. He's been really strong lately. His overall numbers this season have looked bad because he's had some bad outings at the start of the year. But this last month, he's really picked it up. Some easier matchups, but I think the Angels on the road kind of fall into one of those easier categories here. So I like the under on both sides, just, runs being limited on both sides here.
Yeah, I think, it should be very interesting to see where his command and control are tonight, because one of the things that I've absolutely loved about Kopech in these last 2 starts, I mean, aside from 15 innings and 0 earned runs, 3 hits allowed, 1 walk.
Yeah.
That's huge. Now, against Houston, he walked 6 batters the start before that. You've seen him against some of the tougher lineups, start to try and nibble the corners a little. Minnesota, he walked 5. Tampa Bay, he walked 4. Baltimore, he walked 4. So what I think is most important here for Kopech is to not give out the free passes. Is that if he's just going to continue to, trust his stuff and pound this strike zone, I think, Trout and Ohtani, and then what's the rest of that lineup? Is it really that intimidating? Not particularly.
Yeah, if you can get past, Trout and Ohtani, and a lot of times pitchers are just gladly walking Trout and just trying to survive the Ohtani at bat, and then they're kind of getting by with the other guys. So yeah, I'm not usually worried about the Angels. All right, let's my last pick before we get to some home run calls. And by the way, if you guys got any questions, comments about picks for tonight, we'll gladly answer them here in the last few minutes we got. But I'm backing Freddie Freeman here. Is his hits, runs, and RBIs prop. You guys know this is one I like to target. It's at 2.5 on DraftKings, but I still like the over. This guy's been on fire, and he's hitting 414 over the last 7 games, hitting 433 over the past 15 games, and a 1.247 OPS over the past 15 games. He's on fire right now, 17-game hitting streak, 33-game on-base streak, and he's facing – we mentioned this game earlier when I was talking about the over in this one, and just kind of add in Freeman right into it because he's facing Trevor Williams, who's, got a 4.32 ERA this year and has worse numbers on the road. And get this. So we have, obviously Freeman, the MVP, former MVP, MVP favorite this year. And we all know how good of a hitter he is, but he's got a number of splits in his favor here tonight. 374 batting average at home compared to a 306 on the road. 352 average against right-handed pitching compared to a 300 average against lefties, and then 356 batting average in night games compared to a 290 batting average during the day. So, he's a great hitter against all those other splits, but these 3 splits have kind of all matched up here, and that's something I really like to target when there's just a number of factors I'm looking at. So I'm backing Freeman here. I think the 2.5, even though it's over the 1.5 combined hits and runs and RBIs, I'm not scared away from that. So I like his prop here. And with that, we're going to go right into home run calls because I think you have a player that's right here.
Does our scrumptious Swiftie Adam Bernard have a graphic? He does.
There we go.
So, Servo, I'm looking at your over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBI for Freddie Freeman and thinking, yeah, probably. Because I sprinkled a half a unit on Freddie Freeman at plus 400 to hit a home run tonight. I mean, dude mashes against right-handed pitching, as you've talked about. Trevor Williams struggling against left-handed hitting. And Freeman has just been absolute money in the bank. So I'm going to ring the cash register on a half a unit at plus 400 for that. And that's just going to give your favorite play here for tonight's game a nice little boost.
Love it. We're lockstep with Freddie Freeman tonight. And then for my home run call, I'm kind of backing a play you mentioned earlier was the over on the Braves team total. And I also mentioned I'm fading Blackburn, his strikeouts here, but I think Sean Murphy can go yard, plus 600 on DraftKings. And 8 of his 11 home runs this year have been against right-handed pitching. So his better power split this year. I think we got some better options. You mentioned Acuna's total bases and hits, runs, RBIs prop is one, but Matt Olson has been on fire for them. But I think Sean Murphy kind of going a little bit outside the box for the Braves to go deep tonight. So I like that pick for him.
Great numbers against left-handed pitching as well. There were 3 Braves who really popped this morning while I was doing my research, and it was Matt Olson, it was Ronald Acuna, and the third was Sean Murphy. So I love the bet, Servo. I'll put, you know what? I put a half a unit on Freddie. I'm going to put a half a unit on Sean Murphy right now at plus 600.
Love it. Let's do it. Before we get out of here, I think you have a lean or something on tonight's Stanley Cup final, Western Conference Finals, Game 6. We got the Vegas Golden Knights and going against the Dallas Stars here. Been an entertaining series. Game 6, Vegas leading 3-2 here. Where are you going with this? We got Vegas plus 110 on the money line. Dallas is minus 130 on the money line.
I'm in a very interesting spot for this. First of all, once I finish up at the Fantasy Alarm Show, I love Fensty and Ronis. They are my boys, right? But coming up at 8:00 tonight, pub trivia with Simon, Joey, and Tim from the Front Yard Fantasy crew. Those guys are running pub trivia tonight, and you guys can test your fantasy football knowledge by answering questions on the Bettor Sports Network app. You can chat with our community. You can download the app for free in Apple app or Google Play stores over there. So I'm going to be locked in on the pub trivia and just kind of hoping, praying, get it done, Vegas. Get it done. To me, can we bring in our scrumptious Swifty Adam Bernard? There he is. Right.
So I've been referred to as scrumptious twice today, and that's the first 2 times in my life anybody's ever called me scrumptious. So,
dude, look at you. Look at you. I could eat you up. You're so cute. You're so handsome.
If you keep producing this show, it'll be about 50 more times. So,
oh, thank you.
And listen, as soon as you keep bopping out those Taylor Swift songs for us, man, come on.
Well, it was a week ago that we made that bet. There will not be any bets today.
I don't want to make a bet on this either. I'm leaning Vegas. I want Vegas just to put Dallas away. I know it's a tough one because it's on the road, but my leans for tonight are the under 5.5 total and Vegas Golden Knights winning this one. So I'm getting the plus odds over there. It's minus 110 on the over under. They've kind of split between, going over and under in this series here. Am I safe or am I not safe?
I like the under if we're going to, for sure. I think, when you look at, the way the series has gone and just, both teams, Dallas has the momentum on their side. Vegas doesn't want this to get to a game 7. Dallas obviously doesn't want to lose tonight. So they're both going to protect the puck, and Vegas has to protect the puck because they turned the puck over 24 times in game 5. And previously before that, they had done it 33 times in the first 4 games. So I don't think Vegas is going to turn the puck over 24 times tonight. So I agree. I lean Vegas. I don't really, tonight could go either way, but I do like the under. I do lean Vegas because they're going to be better tonight. They're not going to give the puck up 24 times. That's insane.
Let's do it. I do not have a pick on this game, but I guess I'll back you guys the under 5.5 if you guys are both leaning that way.
Chesapeake Danny's Capitals aren't in it.
I'm a Philly guy. Why? Stop giving me these Washington teams.
Even better.
Yeah, I know, right? The Flyers. Stick with the Chesapeake Danny moniker.
I'll back the teams that the Philly teams that even if they're not doing well, but I just don't want to be. I'm not the DC guy that you
says the guy wearing an Old Bay seasoning shirt.
Yeah, and a Maryland hat at that. So,
Your Honor, the defense rests.
By the way, for tonight's hockey game, if you want to get some DFS lineups in, you can go check out the NHL DFS Showdown playbook up on Fantasy Alarm right now. We got Chris Murray, who's been on the show. He's got your top plays for DraftKings, FanDuel, and all that. And by the way, you can get all pro access to Fantasy Alarm's playbooks, award-winning DFS playbooks for all sports, cover 10 different sports. We mentioned NBA, NHL, going on right now, but pretty soon we'll have some football to talk about, college football, that use promo code ALARM50 for that to get 50% off your first 6 months at Fantasy Alarm. So yeah, go check out Grande's NBA DFS playbook, Chris Murray's NHL playbook. We got MLB for tonight and this whole week. So definitely check all those out. Howard, it's been good. We got some bets to watch and track here. I know we'll be chiming in on each other on Twitter. That's always, I can always look for your tweet to either rant or praise some of our picks. So
I'm flipping out right now because it's bases loaded, 1 out. Jake McCarthy's up at bat, but the Rockies are up 4-0 at the moment. So I need a lot of work here from these Diamondbacks if I'm going to clear that run line. And let's keep this hit parade going a little bit so Corbin Carroll can get up there with some runners on base. That's what I need.
I like that. Yeah, we got that game going on. We got Twins Astros. Twins are up 3-0 already on the Astros in the third there, and then the Royals are up on the Cardinals 7-0. They also got the bases loaded right now. So once we get into some of the doldrums of summer where it's just baseball going on and we got some afternoon baseball, I know you and me will be throwing out some live bets on some of these games just to make it more interesting. Like right now, would you take the Diamondbacks money line on what it's probably juiced right now really well. We got actually it's only -105, so they did just score 2 runs. I'm saying. We had a hit. We had Jake McCarthy get a hit here to score 2 more runs. So, but before that hit, the money line was probably really good. I wasn't looking at it live, but some of those live bets could be some really interesting there.
Dude, how about the over under is now 15.5 in that game? This could get ugly.
I love those, the over unders where it's just like, all right, wow. You think about taking the under, but you also don't want to just get screwed and.
Dude, it's crazy. This is going to be a fun game to watch. I'm pretty psyched. I got an hour between this show and Fantasy Alarm on Sirius XM. I will be loading up with more Diamondback love.
Yeah, definitely go listen to Howard and Jim Bowden on that show. Coming up after us here at 5:00 Eastern, you can get some MLB DFS quick pitch live here with John Pemba and James Grande every day, as you guys know. And then followed by Quick Outs Fantasy Football and Her Story, both here on Bettor Sports Network. This has been the Bettor Sports Betting Show. Appreciate it, Howard. We'll be back tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow with John and Penba, but I know you'll be back Wednesday with me. But we got some bets. We'll see if our home run calls. We have had some success with our home run calls on this show overall, like one person hitting. So we'll see. Freeman. And do I get it? Yeah, there we go. Okay.
It's like Wonder Twin powers activate.
Freeman and Sean Murphy. We'll see if one of them goes yard. All right, Howard. Appreciate you joining me today. And great Memorial today for everyone. And we hope you guys are all enjoying tonight's games and tonight's baseball games as we all win our bets. Take care, everyone.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.